Welcome to our channel's analysis and revelation of untold mysteries from the hit TV series Beyond the Gates. Today, we will immerse you in a shocking and haunting theory from a story that not only turns the plot around but also uncovers a bloody past that seemed to have been buried forever in the ashes of time. The story revolves around Vernon, the head of the powerful Dupree family, and the terrifying secret related to his brother Elias, who disappeared many years ago. When the pieces of the truth begin to be revealed from a forest fire that seemed to have been closed more than 2 decades ago, all the preconceptions about what we thought we knew about the Dupree family immediately collapse. In 1998, a catastrophic forest fire occurred in the southern area of the land that the Dupree family had owned for generations. The fire burned more than 300 acres of forest, leaving a desolate dead zone that no one dared to set foot in for years. Authorities initially blamed a natural lightning strike, and the incident was forgotten after months of fruitless investigation. But 25 years later, when an environmental survey team re-examined the forest land for ecological restoration, they were surprised to discover a human bone buried in the fossilized soil at the center of the fire. The DNA testing immediately opened a door to hell. The DNA was directly linked to the Dupree family. This event reopened the fire file, leading to a series of investigations that intertwined the past and the present. Vernon, by then an unshakable pillar of the town, was a pioneer in philanthropy, land development, and national forest preservation. He was hailed as a symbol of rebirth and community unity after the natural disaster. However, few people knew that many years earlier, Vernon had a younger brother named Elias, who had been involved in a series of petty thefts, financial frauds, and was eventually sentenced to prison on charges of forgery related to land ownership. After being released from prison, Elias disappeared completely without a trace. His family claimed that he had left for the West to start a new life. But many in the town clearly remembered that in the days before his disappearance, Elias and Vernon had a fierce argument outside the old church on the edge of town, which later became the fire zone. Under pressure from new evidence, the investigation delved into land records that Elias had access to before his arrest. A terrible truth gradually emerged. Vernon, with the help of a local lawyer who was a former classmate, had colluded to forge land use rights transfer documents from poor households to the name of a shell company headed by him. Although Elias initially participated with the intention of making a profit, when he discovered the true scale and number of victims, he expressed remorse and threatened to expose everything in court. Unable to let his younger brother destroy everything he had built, Vernon made a cruel decision. That night, while Elias was staying in a temporary tent in the middle of the forest to collect evidence, Vernon quietly came to find him. According to the investigation records decoded from old tapes that the environmental survey team accidentally found in a burned cassette player, the two brothers had a tense confrontation, leading to Elias being beaten unconscious. Vernon then set fire to the camp, hoping that the fire would erase all traces of the crime. But the fire not only burned the forest, but also burned Vernon's soul, leaving him in fear and haunting for more than 2 decades. The ghosts of the past continued to haunt him, especially as the forest land became increasingly attractive to conservation and bioarchaeology organizations. Vernon repeatedly spent money to delay surveys, bribed local authorities, and even built a forest memorial to turn the area into a no-mining zone. All to hide a dead body. However, darkness cannot hide light forever. When the DNA sample was confirmed to be Elias's, all suspicion immediately fell on Vernon. While authorities attempted to summon him for questioning, Vernon suddenly disappeared from the Dupree mansion in the middle of the night, leaving behind an empty room, a spilled wineglass, and a map of the burned forest marked with strange symbols. Local authorities immediately organized a search, but all failed. The media got involved, and conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. Vernon had committed suicide in the woods to atone for his sins, or had been murdered by someone to cover up the evidence. Some believed that Elias had never died and was living incognito under a different identity, now returning to seek revenge. Others claimed that the strange phenomena occurring in the woods, howling sounds, flickering lights, and the disappearance of animals, were signs that Elias's spirit was returning to demand justice. Meanwhile, the Dupree descendants began to fall into a spiral of power and property struggles. Without Vernon, all the secrets in the land documents gradually came to light, exposing a series of extortions, illegal deforestation, and even manipulation of the local market. Many officials began to be investigated, dozens of families sued to reclaim their land use rights, plunging the entire town into an unprecedented crisis of confidence. A year after the incident, a diary wrapped in oilcloth is discovered in the town's junkyard. The diary, confirmed to be Elias's, records the entire plan to expose Vernon, the locations of the documents, and an apology to his fiancée whom he never saw again. This diary becomes the final evidence, confirming that Elias was murdered for telling the truth. What started as a seemingly simple fire leads to a horrifying truth about greed, betrayal, and evil covered up by power. Vernon, once hailed as the savior of the forest, turns out to be the one who burned it down, both literally and figuratively. Beyond the Gates is no longer the story of a noble family but an indictment of deadly secrets buried in false glory. Stay tuned to our channel for more in-depth analysis and dramatic theories about popular TV series. And if you think the truth is out in the open, think again. Because the gate to the past is not completely closed.